The job interview. There was once a man named John who loved telling jokes. He told jokes at work, at home, and even on the bus. But sometimes, his jokes got him into trouble, especially at important moments. One day, John saw an ad for his dream job. It was a great company with a big office, and it paid really well. John applied, and a week later, he got a call to come in for an interview. John dressed up in his best suit, practiced his answers, and arrived at the office on time. But he was so nervous that he started thinking about jokes to relax himself. Just as he was about to enter the interview room, he thought, "No, John. No jokes today. Stay serious." The interviewer, Mr. Brown, was a tall, serious-looking man with glasses. He greeted John and asked him to sit down. Mr. Brown began with the usual questions, like, "Tell me about yourself." John answered professionally, sticking to the facts. "So far, so good." Then Mr. Brown asked, "Why do you want this job?" Without thinking, John replied, "Because I'm tired of being broke." He laughed at his own joke, but then he quickly put on a serious face. Mr. Brown just looked at him. "I see," he said, and wrote something down. John thought, "Oh no, stay serious, John." Mr. Brown continued with more questions, and John tried hard to keep his jokes inside. But after a while, it was too much. Finally, Mr. Brown asked, "What is your biggest strength?" John tried to be serious, but his joke just slipped out. "My biggest strength? Probably carrying the groceries in one trip." Mr. Brown looked at him with raised eyebrows. "Just kidding," John said, laughing nervously. "My real strength is teamwork." Mr. Brown nodded slowly and wrote more notes. John felt his face turning red. He knew he had to keep his sense of humor under control, or he'd ruin his chances. Then came the last question. Mr. Brown asked, "John, where do you see yourself in 5 years?" John took a deep breath and said seriously, "Honestly, I see myself working here in this company." But then, the urge was too strong. He added, "And maybe sitting in your chair." Mr. Brown stared at him for a moment, and then he laughed. For the first time, Mr. Brown actually laughed. "John," he said, "you're one of the funniest candidates I've ever met. And you know what? I think we could use someone like you here. A little humor could brighten up this place." John couldn't believe his ears. He got the job. He walked out of the office that day, proud and happy, knowing that his jokes had finally paid off. From then on, John worked at the company, making his coworkers laugh and brightening everyone's day. He was still known as the funny guy, and he never let anyone forget that a little laughter can go a long way.